Hey, you guys, I'm Summer, and welcome back to my channel where we explore the ideas, the strategies, and practical tools that help solopreneurs, authors, experts, and everybody get their message out into the world. Also, it's Bookmas, you guys. We are exploring resources that can help authors build an authority and go beyond just selling copies of their books. So, whether you're published, your first book, or you're still writing your first book, I'm going to tell you, publishing your book is just the beginning. The real question is, how do you get people talking about it? My handsome guest here today is Chris Hanlon. He's all the way here from New Zealand. Well, he's on his Zoom. Chris is a speaking coach who has helped over 100 TEDx speakers, entrepreneurs, founders, business leaders. He helped them develop their talks that inspire people to listen, and more importantly, inspire them to take action. Through years of coaching keynote speakers, startup founders, and business owners, Chris has refined his framework for creating presentations that move the audience. Today, we are taking that expertise and applying it to something every author should know about book tours. Chris, welcome to my show. And thank you so much for being a generous resource of information for my people.
Thanks, Summer. Great to be here. Really love talking to you at any time. So I'm pleased to be here and talk about book tours. I have talked to a few authors in the past about this in particular. So
Mhm.
it's a fascinating aspect of speaking.
It
So I'm
is.
keen to get into it.
Mm. I think when people hear the phrase book tour, they immediately picture like famous authors like Tony Robbins flying through city and signing books in packed bookstores. But the reality today for small solopreneur authors like you and me, not you, you're better than that. It looks very different, doesn't it? So many
Well,
questions are popping out of my head right now, Chris.
you'll be surprised what you can get. So, yes, the truth is that for most of us, if we're doing a book tour, we're going to be doing a lot of it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of book clubs around, on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
that do their book club meetings on Zoom. And they'd love to have an author pop in and talk about their book. So
Mm-hmm.
you can get those, but you can get live ones as well. Particularly if you've got local libraries, they
Mm-hmm.
love to have authors come in and talk to people. So you can do a live event there, have copies
Mm-hmm.
of your book there for sale. They pretty much anybody, even libraries, will be happy for you to sell stuff in
Mm-hmm.
this event.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, uh, bookstores. If there's a local bookstore that has your book, then
Mm-hmm.
you can absolutely, they'll be happy to have you there because it draws people to the store. So,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be surprised. You can actually get quite a few opportunities to speak at these book events and find events or places that you can go and do this. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and the other thing you can do if you're so inclined, is find other authors in your area and work out
Mm.
something where you go together. So there's two or three of you doing something, and it makes it
Uh-huh.
even more of an event, more likely that a big store will take you on, and all those sorts of things. So there's a number of things you can do there. Yeah.
So I've heard that there are live events and virtual events, even pre-recorded appearances. But my question is, why should every author be even thinking about doing book tours?
Okay. One of the biggest problems I see with authors, and you can agree or disagree, I'm not sure, but this
Mm-hmm.
is what I have seen is, and I know a little bit because I sort of did it myself with my very first book, was that when I wrote it, I was like, done,
Nah.
and walked off. And that was it. I didn't do any marketing. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
sell any books. For that book, the only book I've written at this stage, it was more a case of wanting to learn the process and see what it took to do a book.
Mm.
And this was when Amazon had just started writing paperback books, and I used
Oh.
what was it called? Something Create anyway.
Hmm.
No, some sort of uh, website that actually built the publish on demand, which Amazon
Oh.
later bought. But this was
Mm.
well before Kindle came out and stuff like that. So we know
Mm.
ebooks
Mm.
back then and all that sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just wanted to know how to do it, so I did the book there. But the reason you want to do the book tour is getting the book done. It's just the first part of the journey.
Agree. Yes.
You have to promote it,
Mhm.
and a lot of authors, when they go, oh, I have to promote my book, it's like, I don't want to do that. But it should
Mhm.
be something you love doing.
Mm,
honestly. And if you get it done right, if you work out a little bit of a talk, something you can give that energizes you, you'll
mm,
look for opportunities to share that. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. What is it that you can talk about your book that
mm.
will really get people fired up? And when they get fired up, you get fired up, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't think of it so much as, you want to sell books.
Mm,
Absolutely, you want to sell books, but I'm
mm,
not there to sell the books. I'm there to
mm,
spark their curiosity, get their interest in the ideas
mm.
that you've put in your book, right?
Yes.
And if you do that, if that's your goal, you'll sell books. Don't worry about the
Mm,
sales.
mm.
Just get those ideas
Sales
in
will
your head.
follow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why you need to do it, because if you can share an idea in a really clear way, then those people will share those ideas and they become your viral influence. It's
Mm,
quite different from you sending out an email.
yeah.
People don't often forward an email, but if you
Mm-hmm.
talk to somebody and really move them, they
Mm,
tend to talk about that. Or when it
mm-hmm.
comes up, they'll remember you and
They
go, "Oh,
remember
I
you
heard this
more.
speaker the other week talking just about this sort of thing, and he
Mm-hmm.
said this, this, and this, and he wrote a book. Here it is, and that's the viral effect. And I think you get much more of that viral effect from a live presentation, a virtual presentation, and even a video. A video will be, better than a written word for most people in terms of sharing it. And of course, a video, they can just share the video as well. So, yeah.
Ooh, yes. And I've heard so many people say, my book is done. It's written. Now it's published. Now what? Now,
Yeah.
book tours. Once you've secured opportunities to speak, many authors assume that you should simply talk about your book from beginning to end. But I have a feeling that's not the audience wants. Some people
Why
do
would they
say
buy
that.
it if you tell them everything? Okay. So I tell you what, the best example of how to do this for a business book is if you look up Simon Sinek
Mhm.
uh, TEDx talk. And I
Uh-huh.
think it was TEDx Puget Sound he did, something like
Mhm.
that. And it was Your Why, Finding Your Why. I forget the actual title of the talk, something like that, Finding Your Why. And it's really, really effective, right? And watch that, because all he did was he picked one chapter out of
Mhm.
his book, one idea, one concept that he thought was really important,
Mm.
and he shared that in a TEDx talk. He didn't say it was in the book. He didn't say he was a consultant and you could hire him. He didn't say any of those things. He goes, "This is
Mhm.
a great idea. This is how the idea works. This is why people screw up, because they don't realize this. And if you do realize this, this is what will happen. And this is how it'll change your life." And it became,
Oh.
it's got millions of views.
Mm.
He, trust me, he didn't mention his book. He sold a lot of books. He didn't mention his consultancy business. He
Many people
became one of
hired
the
him.
biggest, best paid consultants in North America.
Mm.
So that would be a great way to do that. Now, I know you don't deal with a lot with fictional authors, but I've
Not
talked to
yet.
fictional authors
Mm.
as well. And in that sense, with a fictional author, you don't want to tell them about the story. You might want to tell them about the world you've created, or
Yes.
behind the
The
scenes.
tropes.
Why
Yeah.
did you create this world? I created this world because this was what was happening. Or, and so that can translate over to nonfiction as well. So you can talk about the why you wrote the book, because people want to see behind the curtain. They want to read the book and see what you have, what you've put together for them. But if
Hmm.
they go, "Oh, I've heard that author. I know
Hmm.
stuff everybody else doesn't know. I know that they wrote
Hmm.
this because their daughter was having a problem at school, and that's why this triggered them to write this book." So
Hmm.
those stories that are not in the book,
Hmm.
that are like Easter eggs, bonus material, that's
Hmm.
great
Hmm.
stuff to put in your book
Hmm.
tool,
Hmm.
because it creates that relationship between the reader, the audience, and
Hmm.
yourself. And
Hmm.
so and they feel a bit more ownership. And when they feel like they know you, or they know something more about you, when they have the opportunity to recommend your book,
Hmm.
they feel almost obligated to do that, because you're a friend now.
Hmm.
You know,
Yes.
you're not just
Yeah.
some name on the front cover of a book.
Or a newsletter.
I've
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard you speak. I've
Hmm.
been with you on that journey, because when you tell the story about, your daughter and the problem she had, which got you to write this book, you tell that story fully, and they live that story with you, then they're invested with you, and they will absolutely recommend that book. And that's when
Hmm.
virality comes in. Does that
Yes,
make sense?
yes, it does. I had one person buy my book just because I smiled at her.
Well, you do have $1 million
That's
smile.
powerful. Oh, okay. I'm not paying. Are you paying me the $1 million? No. Well, what I'm hearing is create a talk that leaves people thinking, I need to read that book. Let me buy it right now. Right?
Yeah.
And that brings us to presentation. Giving a presentation sounds very simple until you are standing in front of that audience. So my question is, how can authors prepare so that they come across as a confident, engaging, authentic person, authentic author without sounding like, they're delivering a long sales pitch?
Yeah.
Non-fiction
That's a
author,
good.
especially.
It's a good question. Now, there's a few things I'm going to say here. Um, Before I say anything, actually, I
Mm,
should tell you this about my philosophy on coaching and things, right?
mhm.
I'm not a guru and I don't like gurus. I think guru is a bad term, right? Because I strongly believe there's not one way to do anything. There are a
That's right.
million ways to do anything, right?
Absolutely. Mm,
So if I suggest something here and it doesn't work for you, don't use it. It's not, I'm not saying that's the way to do it. It's one
exactly.
way.
Mm,
So always there's a better way and a worse way, and you just
mm,
try them. No, that didn't work. Okay, don't do any
mm,
more of that. Oh, that worked. I'll do more of
mm,
that.
mm,
Or you try that and you try that. They both didn't work, and then you go, well, what if we combine them? Oh, that's even better. So
mm,
experiment with things, right? So I just wanted to say that up front because if I give
mm,
some advice, it's
mm.
like try it.
It will
I'm
not
not
work for
saying
everybody. That's okay.
it won't work for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah.
So if we look at confidence and things like that, first thing,
Mm,
I
mm,
strongly believe confidence comes from competence.
yeah.
One of the problems a lot of speakers say is they'll, when I build up the confidence, then I'll speak. It doesn't work
Mm,
that way around. You've
yeah.
got to start speaking, and that's
Mm.
how you build up confidence.
Action builds
I think,
confidence.
yeah, all the breathing techniques in the world and the, mantras or whatever it is, I mean, those things do help. Like it helps to
Mm.
breathe properly, obviously, but
Mm,
that's not going to take over when all you really need to know what you're talking about. So you just got to be very, very clear about
mm,
what it is you're doing in this event, what you
mm,
want, what the outcome is that you want, what the outcome you think the audience wants. And once
mm,
you're clear about that, you know this information. You've written the book, you know it.
mhm,
So you
mhm,
shouldn't have a problem. The next thing I'm going to say is I recommend that you don't use slides. Now, there will be times
mm,
where slides do seem appropriate. Like if you're speaking at a conference and everybody else is using slides and it's all set up, yeah, okay, you can use some slides there. But I recommend you actually practice doing the whole talk without any slides because
mm,
in a bookstore and in a library, you may not have slides. And if they do have the screen projector and stuff in a library, the chances of it breaking down are a lot higher than zero.
That is true. Yeah. And
you
you'd
know,
rather
so
have people looking at your face than a screen.
exactly. I mean, when we do TEDx, so I've been a
Mm,
TEDx coach for over a decade. I've coached over 100 TEDx speakers. When we
mhm,
do TEDx, I recommend that they use slides very rarely. Every slide has to earn its place. So the only time we really use slides is when we're using a picture to create an emotion, because pictures
ah,
create emotions, like can
mhm,
help us with emotion, or when it's a complex thing that you need to, a complex scientific explanation, and you need a graph or a diagram or a
mm,
this is
mm,
how these interact type thing.
mm,
It's the only time I really recommend you use slides. So there's no words on them ideally.
mm.
It's pictures for emotion or graphics to explain an
Explain
abstract
better.
concept.
Mm,
Yeah. So if you've got a very scientific-y type book, yeah, you might have a couple of diagrams, particularly if your book has diagrams in them.
okay.
Well, you've put the diagrams in there for a reason. Yeah, those would make sense to put in a
Show
slide
and
when you're
tell
talking about those things. Yeah.
if you want to show
But
and tell.
but if that's the case, then maybe don't talk about that chapter and to pick
Hmm.
another chapter that doesn't have so many slides, because
Hmm.
I recommend you try it without slides. So what do you talk about? Well, what you want to do is tell stories.
Hmm.
And so you'll have a concept in the book. So you want to explain the concept. So that's part of what you want to talk about. But you want to tell a story about how you came across this concept, maybe, or you want to tell a story about a client or somebody you know who has done this and the transformation they went through. That's gold. If you have a story of a client, it could be yourself, it could be a family member, it could be somebody else, and you say this is where they were before, this is the problem they had, this is the solution that I've just explained to you. They put this into place, and this is how they were at the end.
Mm.
If anybody resonates with that, they go, "Oh, I'm going to have to buy that book now."
Yes.
Damn.
You have the solution that I have the problem for.
Yeah, exactly. So what you want is stories. Now, a lot of people freak out because I've got to memorize a talk. It's not hard to memorize the talk. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. We're not memorizing. When most of us memorize, what we do is we read something and read it over and over. This is how we've done it at school, right?
Yeah.
And effectively, we put the paper away and we're reading on the screen of our minds.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And that's the worst way to memorize anything. It's stupid. Tell you the best way to memorize things is, your favorite song. You hear the first few bars of the music, the first words popping into your head. You don't even have to think about it. They just pop into your head.
It's
and
memorized.
You know the rhythm, the beat, the highs and the lows, and and you have the tune, right? That's what does the memorization. So when you're practicing a talk, that's what we do is we record and listen to ourselves, and we pick one story and we try and get the rhythm right. And this is where I get really excited. And this is where I slow it down because it's really, really scary, or whatever it is, right? And you get those rhythms right. That's what you're going to remember. But it's not like you're memorizing Shakespeare or Hamlet or somebody else's stuff. This is your stories. These are your stories.
Yeah.
This is from your book. So nobody's going to complain if you say some words out of place or do it in a different order. The hardest thing that people find is what order of the stories I am going to put them in. And I have a process for doing that. The process of what order we're going to put them in. And then I have if you're really worried about it, you can get a little bit of card, even in the back of a business card, and put the bullet points. This story, that story, this story, this story. Just so you go, where we're up to. Oh, yeah, that story. And carry on,
Prompt card. That's what we used to call in high school. Yeah. Take a look at it once and then keep going. The memorized talk.
Yeah. Honestly, if you get that prompt card and put it in your pocket, you probably never ever need to pick it out of your pocket, And
if you're a subject matter expert,
you just feel good because it's there. It's in your pocket.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend around that. I think I want to talk a little bit about emotion, and because I think it's important, because emotion is what creates action, and it's also what helps
moves
with
the
memory. People will remember you when there's emotion involved. And most of us get very stuck in the logic, especially people that write some of the books. Now, your book might be very emotional, so this isn't the issue for you, right? But for a lot of businessy books that are quite concept driven or abstract, the emotion's not there. So we want to make sure we put emotion in there. So I want to talk a little bit about emotion. And the key with emotion is that emotion works in contrast. So if I want to give a rah-rah speech, and rah-rah-rah-rah, and I'm rah-rah all the time and I'm up here, it's actually flat. And it just drains people, right? So this is why when you hear someone like Tony Robbins, who's a great motivational speaker, he'll talk about the time when he was washing his clothes in the bathtub because he couldn't afford a washing machine and all that sort of, and then it'll go up because it's the contrast between the low and the high. That's where we get our emotion. So I'm going to share a little bit of a thing here. Just, you'll see this. So this is a little graph next to me here. So this is a little bit about how things might work. So here it says, you set the scene, you start in the middle, right? And things drop down to what I call an uh-oh. And so any story, you go, things would swing along and then, oh no,
this happened.
Yeah. All right. And you drop down. And then they overcome that problem and find a solution. You get up and you've got a yay, we're good. And notably, the yay is higher than the start off. So you're even better than when you started, right? And then something else goes wrong and it goes all the way down. And then I've got here, pit of despair. Or if that's uh-oh, this is oh crap.
Oh,
right?
no, yeah.
And that's where, I don't know how we're going to get out of this. It's doomed. We're doomed. We can't get out. There's no way out. Pit of despair. And then they find a way out and you end up on a high triumph. Now, this is sort of how every story goes, whether it's a book, a TV program, a movie. You have this roller coaster of emotions. You've got to have the contrast. And as you see, as it goes along, it gets lower. So the uh-oh's
Mm-hmm.
here and the pit of despair is lower. The
Mm.
yay's here, the triumph is higher.
Much bigger.
Now, if you've got a longer talk, you might have a few of these and the small ones and big ones and small ones and big ones. And then you
Mm-hmm.
want to ideally end on a high, and the highest high that you've got through your talk. That's what you want to leave people with. So
That's beautiful.
yeah, it's just important to know that you've got to take them up and down. You can't have
Mm.
them flat all the way through. Um, that's what I call an emotional overlay. So basically, we work out the logic first, and
Mm.
I go into that. We won't go into that here because
Mm.
it's not as relevant for the book tour as for like a TEDx talk.
Mm.
But I work out the logic of the talk. So they're going on a journey from where what the audience knows before the talk and what you want them to know by the end of the talk, and you have a journey. So we work out the logic first, and then we work out this emotional lines, where we're going to have our uh-oh moment, where we're going to have a yay, where we're going to have a pit of despair, and where we're going to finish on. Now, I said we're finishing on triumph, but
Mm.
that doesn't mean that's what you want to finish on. You might want to finish on empowerment or inspiration. You want them to be inspired, or you want them to be, excited. Whatever emotion that you want, you decide. Now, it's worth mentioning that I ended on a high, and I recommend that for most talks, right? You will see people do this the other way around and they end on a low, and they want to scare people, or it's fear mongering, or mainstream media do that. It works and you can do that. I don't recommend that.
Mhm.
People remember you better, more fondly, if you end on a high. If you want
Yeah.
to sell books, generally that's the best way to do it. But you know, it, do I'll leave it up to you what you want to do.
Yes, of course. Flat
Yeah,
stories wouldn't work because flat stories might look like I was selling books. Sally came along, she bought my book, and she went home.
yeah.
Hmm. And you have been teaching a lot of speakers over the years, and you probably have guided lots of people do their book tours as well. You've advised a lot of people. Have you seen people making huge mistakes there? What could be the worst
Yeah.
thing that could happen on a book tour? People giving too much information or not doing a call to action?
Actually, I think one of the worst mistakes, there's a number of mistakes. Okay. One of them is actually the opposite, not giving enough information or
Oh.
hiding your best information. Because you're much better in the talk. If you've got a killer concept,
Hmm.
share that one, because they
Hmm.
go, wow, if that's what he's giving away in the talk, I need to read the book. Because I think that's what Simon Sinek did in his
Hmm.
talk, like
Hmm.
that, the why thing
Talked
is at
about
the
one
heart of the
chapter.
book. So it
Hmm.
was one of the key concepts of the book. So he focused on that. So lead with your most powerful thing,
Hmm.
because they go, damn, that was in a 30-minute talk. I need to read the book, right? Don't hide your most powerful thing and give them something lame, because why would
Why would
they
they
pay?
buy? Yeah. Hmm.
But I've seen people do that. I've seen them, and I'm like, I've read the book. Why didn't you talk about that? Oh, well, they have to buy the book to find that out. They're not going to
Oh,
buy the
keep it the
book.
best kept secret.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's probably the biggest mistake. The other thing is you need to impart some personality, right? So
Hmm.
I'm a little excited. I talk a little bit. I laugh a lot generally. Like if you catch up with me for a coffee,
Hmm.
I'll be
Yep.
laughing in the cafe. Everybody keeps looking at us because I laugh loudly. You get embarrassed. It's just the way it is. Deal with
I
it.
wouldn't.
Uh,
I would
but
laugh
be
with you.
yourself. That's the key. Now, one of the problems that we find with all speakers, all types of speakers, I've found it with TEDx, I've found it with people pitching, and I've found it with authors as well, is they go, "Oh, I really like this speaker.
Hmm.
Like, I really like Tony Robbins. I
Hmm.
want to sound like Tony Robbins."
Hmm.
Well, if that's not your personality, it does not work, right?
Yeah.
Because it just feels wrong because you're acting to be somebody you're not.
Yeah.
So just be yourself. So
Hmm.
another part of that is people go, "Oh, I've got to add some jokes in." Now, I will make things funny because I just make things funny. In fact, I make things funny without trying to make things funny because that's just
Hmm.
me. I always
Hmm.
have,
Hmm.
right? My
Hmm.
family's like that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But if that's not you, don't worry about it. Don't try
Yeah.
to be something you're not. So we had an
Hmm.
engineer at last year's TEDx University of Waikato, and
Hmm.
he put all these jokes in, and they were not funny.
Nobody laughed at his jokes.
Well, no, well, this was in the rehearsals, right? And I'm sort of going, I don't think you need that. And like some of the jokes were off topic. Like, why are you telling that? Like that, it doesn't even line up with the story.
Right.
Why are you going off? Oh, well, I thought it was funny. I'm like, oh, I don't think it's funny. And he wasn't listening to me. He was like, oh, I'm putting them all in. I'm like, oh no. Anyway, apparently one of his friends, because I got a message from him a week later, one of his friends got him to watch a TEDx talk. Well, I think it was a TEDx talk or something online. And I got a message from him. And he goes, I've decided to take those jokes out. I'm like, oh, really? Why is that? I was like, yes. Why is that? He goes, oh, I watched this thing my friend showed me, and this guy told these jokes and nobody laughed. And it was really embarrassing. I said, yeah, it's terrible when that happens. He goes, yeah, I'm not going to risk it. I'm like, yes.
Sometimes you get your lessons a different way.
Yeah, so he didn't have that. He had a couple of semi-humorous moments, but it wasn't his personality. And you've got to be careful. And that's a good tip, is to have somebody to coach you. Now, if you can afford a coach or get a coach, absolutely do that. But it doesn't have to be a coach. Get somebody who's going to give you honest feedback, like not mum, not your spouse,
not your neighbor.
Who's going to go, nah, I didn't like that at all. You know, somebody that will give you honest feedback, because even I'm pretty good at this stuff, right? When I'm writing a talk, I get some of the people that I've had as coaches before, like we coached together, TEDx people. I'll get Pamela to, hey, I've got a talk. I need you to look at my talk. And she'll pick things up. As soon as she says it, I'm like, yeah, of course. But you can't see your own problems. Like you can't see your own mistakes because you're so close to it. So I use a coach. Everybody should use somebody to give them that feedback.
100%. Yeah.
So that's a key thing as well. So those are the common mistakes. And the other one I've already touched on is not putting any emotion in at all. We think it's a logical business book, and so we're all about logic. If you don't make some emotion in there, and that emotion's probably, this is the problem I'm solving, this is how they feel when they have that problem, this is how bad it can be, and this is how it's going to be after you've solved the problem. That emotional change, putting that in your talk will elevate your talk over anything else you can do.
Wow. Yes. And also don't use slides. Death by PowerPoint is not what you want for your audience. Finally, there's one question, Chris, that everybody wants answered, like right now. If they've heard you speak until now, they want to know, okay, great, book tours are awesome, but how do I actually get booked? Where should they be looking? And who should they be approaching? And how can somebody with no speaking experience build a book tour that grows over time? That's
that's a very good question. So the first thing you need to do is get a couple under your belt, because you need to actually speak to get the confidence to keep speaking. All right. Now, I recommend, like I said, the local library.
Yeah.
They're usually really good, because you go, I'm a local, I live here, I've written a book, I'd like to speak. They're like, yeah, we'd love to have you in, because like anything, most local libraries have a newsletter that goes out to the members or whatever, and every month or whatever, and they say, we've got somebody coming in. Well, I've got Summer coming in this Friday at lunchtime to talk about her new book. And you may only get 3 or 4 people there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it gives you a chance to practice. Now, some people will find it easier to do their first couple online like this, and some people find it easier to do it live, because looking at a camera is actually quite scary for some people. Yeah. And you'll be one or the other. I don't know. I'm quite comfortable with both. I've done a lot of acting on movies and TV and bits and pieces in the past. Yeah. So I'm comfortable with the camera, but I'm equally comfortable live. So, but whatever you feel most comfortable with, start there. So if you're really scared about doing it live, but you feel comfortable enough on camera, then make those first couple, try to get a Zoom together, find out if you can find some book clubs or something like that that are meet online, and say, hey, would you be interested if I come in and do a bit of a presentation about my new book? And start with that. So that's the first thing. Get a couple under your belt. Once you're comfortable, or when you do it, ask people, what did you like about what I said, and what could I do to improve, because I'm trying to improve this. Everybody will give you good feedback. Don't always take everything they say as gospel, but they want to help.
Yeah.
And so when you get some feedback, incorporate that. And when you feel comfortable, then we can start looking at really getting a tour. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there's a book I recommend to all the people I coach. It's by Michael Port and Alan Davis, I think. It's called
Mm-hmm.
The Referable Speaker. And that's more about, being a professional speaker, but the concept works for book tours as well. You will get booked for more book tours when they see you at another book tour doing well. When they see you talk well, they go, oh, I need them to talk to my group. I need them to
Mm-hmm.
talk to
Mm-hmm.
my audience, right?
Mm.
So that's why I say get a couple under your belt so you refine it and get your talk good, and then start working on a campaign. And the campaign is I'm going to try and book as many as I can in a certain period of time
Mm.
and do it like a season. You've got, right, I've got a 2-month
Mm.
book tour. It's going to be for 2 months and I'm going to speak everywhere I can and try and
Mm.
work out all these
Mm.
places. Then it's a matter of finding places. Use AI. AI.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
book. I've written a book on this. I want to do a book tour. Please give me a whole bunch of ideas of places I can speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get a huge list. You can quickly get a fairly big list. And then you just research these places, send out queries. You'll get 1 in 10. So expect that you'll get a lot of negatives. But
Mm.
I tell you
Mm.
what, when you start getting them and you start going to them, people
Mm-hmm.
start getting hold of you and saying, hey, you spoke at my friend's place. I've got a
And
library
I have
here,
a
or I've got
place.
a store
Mm.
here. We'd like you to come. And it'll build. So the beginning of the 2 months will be a bit sad, a bit slow. There's
Okay.
only one a day. And by
Then you
the end
build
of it, you'll
traction.
have a lot more people. You're like, oh, I might have to extend the tour. Damn,
Mm.
I'm going to sell way more books. What a problem. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. It's a loving problem to have. Um, Extending a book tour for 3 years. Why not? As long as,
Yeah.
people want me and I can keep selling my book, I always had a new book. I would love to
Yeah.
squeeze in a last question because so many aspiring authors might be watching until the end. Do authors need to wait until their book is totally finished or published before they
Oh,
start building
no,
speaking
no, no.
opportunities? Hmm.
No, no, no,
Tell
no,
us
no. In
more.
fact, the best talks are when you can start talking about it before it's out.
Hmm.
And that's the key, I think, is there's a few different ways to do this. So I'm going to give you an idea. Again, what works for you depends on what it is.
Yeah.
But being able to jump on and say, get into a room, the room will depend on your topic. So
Mm.
if you're talking about a book on engineering, for argument's sake, then if it's an engineering style venue, event, or something, that's where you're going to have to talk, right? If it's about real estate, you're going to have to talk in a real estate event.
Mm.
So it depends on what you're talking about. But you want to go, I'm working on a new book, and the concept of the book is this. So I'm going to share with you 2 ideas, and I want to get your feedback on them. And
Mm.
you give them some of the stuff you're working on beforehand. Now, the beauty of this is you're charging people up. If it's an interesting enough idea, they're going to go, oh, I want to buy that. Now, you
Mm.
might have pre-orders and you can say,
Mm.
the book's open for pre-order now. Or you might say, I've got a wait list. If you go
Mm.
in, not
Mm.
only when it goes live will you get a copy, you'll get a signed copy because you're on my wait list, right?
Ooh. Hmm.
You know, so you can ask for that. But the other thing you want to ask is, and it might be part of the waitlist thing. In order to get on the waitlist, I want your feedback. Where
Mm.
would you use this? What
Mm.
part of that idea did you like? Because this can help you with the writing of the book.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
most
Mm.
of the audience go, I love this bit and I love this bit, but I don't get how they join together, you're like, oh, I've got to work that
Mm.
out. I've got to
Mm.
make sure I make that clear in the book. Maybe you
Mm.
do have it clear in the book and you didn't do it in the talk, but
Mm.
whatever it is. So it's a great way to get feedback. And if you can tease people, the beauty of this is if you've got a good enough wait list and you do this beforehand, when you launch the book, you can get a bestseller
Mhm.
because you've already got those people lined up ready to buy, you know,
That is true.
and make that
So,
launch party awesome.
launch party, yes. Mine's coming up very soon. But I've been building relationships and conversations before the book actually launches.
Yeah.
So my biggest takeaway is book tour is not really about traveling to so many places and doing your thing, but creating conversations that make people want to buy the book and maybe hire me for something else later on. So every
Yeah.
stage, podcast, webinar, networking event, interview, they become another opportunity to serve people, to build authority, which is the main reason why people write nonfiction books, right? and
Yeah.
introduce your ideas to new audience. Chris, we would like to learn more about you. What are you actually working
Before
on right now?
before we
Say
get
it.
there,
Mm-hmm.
one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Reels. Don't forget reels. Do a reel. So if you've got a story, one story, put that in a reel. If you've got one concept, put that in a reel. If you got so whether that's YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram or all of them, do
Mm-hmm.
those, because that also gets people. And just have the cover of the book or the title of the book in your background or something when you're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that'll build up interest as well beforehand while you're still in the writing phase. Sorry, I just thought about that. So
No, don't be sorry. That's a golden nugget because I haven't done any reels.
yeah, no, do it. It'll help.
But tell us what are you working on right now?
What am I working on right now? So at the moment, right now I have a community, the Compelling Communicators community,
Mm-hmm.
which I put a lot of the resources that I share, well, pretty much all the resources that I share with the TEDx people I coach. So I coach
Mm-hmm.
TEDx University of Waikato every year. That's coming up. So we're going to be selecting speakers for that soon. And so I coach those. I coach other people. I do startups and things like that. But I'm quite excited because I've got a launch coming up at the end of August
Tell us
for
about it.
yeah, it's a cohort. So what we're going to do is we're talking about TEDx style talks.
Mm.
Now, the launch will have coaching, and there's two levels. There's I don't want to do a TEDx talk, and there is I
Mm.
do want to do a TEDx talk. There's a little bit
Mm.
more involved with the TEDx side of it. But a
Mm.
TEDx style talk is a
Mm.
very specific style of talk.
Mm.
Most talks are either educational, where they just tell you this is what you need to know, see you buy, or
Mm.
it's a sale, and it's either
Mm.
you bought or you didn't buy, see you
Mm.
later. A
Mm.
TEDx talk is a captivation talk, and it's about getting people to be attracted, magnetic to you. And so what we're doing is we're not going broad and shallow, we're going narrow and deep, and we're giving them a glimpse of the world as we see it. I call it
Mm.
TEDx talk an on-ramp to my obsession. This is what I'm
And on
obsessed
ramp to
about.
what?
This is on-ramp to my obsession.
Obsession. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
obsessed
Mm.
about this.
Mm.
Here's a glimpse of why I'm obsessed about it. And
Mm.
those people that find that, wow, that's really cool, they're going to get obsessed about it too, right? So
Mm.
that's what we're doing with a TEDx style talk. So you can use this in your business or
Mm.
in your for a book or a project, or if you're an activist for the cause that you're after.
Mm.
It's a framework. I call it the captivation architecture framework, and we
Mm.
work out how to structure your talk so it gets people's interest and gets them wanting to know more, take
Mm.
action, follow you, buy your book, join your program, whatever it is that you do.
Mm.
So it's a 6-week program that we're putting together. The launch comes through the end of August. It's
Mm.
all going through my school community, the Compelling Communicators community,
Mm.
and I'm very excited about it. I've got a bunch of people helping me out, so yeah, looking forward to it.
And you guys who are listening, that link to his school community, CCC, is right there in the description below. And if you guys want to know more about Chris, his speaking frameworks, how he helps people create talks that move audiences, you should connect with him. Look in the description below, you'll find his website, his LinkedIn, every way to connect with him and join his school community. If you're an author watching this, remember one thing: your book deserves more than just the launch day, just the publish day. It deserves a big journey. And if you're enjoying these Teach Me Something conversations, please like and subscribe and share this episode with somebody, with another great author who is ready to get their message heard. Chris, thank you so much for making this resource really valuable.
It's my pleasure.
You guys, I'll see you in the next one.